Okay, welcome. It's September 5th, and today we're going to be talking about the market. And I'm going to start with Tesla today simply because it's kind of gapping up this morning, right? Let's see. We'll go take some things off real quick, see what's really happening here with Tesla. So it's, yeah, 225 in the pre-market and it's looking pretty good, right? So it's that number that I've been watching the whole time is that 382 level, the 221.26, and right now it's above, right? So I think that's like the minimum. I really want Tesla to close the week out above that 221 26, right? Yeah, cut to the chase. Give us Tesla. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, so the minimum just want to see it close above 221.26 by Friday, tomorrow. So we'll see if that can continue. But is it out of the woods yet? Is it gonna be above all resistance yet? And not yet, right? You can see that just given this right here, there is the resistance of the conversion line 226.50, and the top of the cloud sits right there at 225.90ish, right? So it's really getting close to that resistance. Now, whether or not it blasts above that today, I don't know. But if it opens around these levels, there is a chance for price to just sell off, right? It's a chance because if price opens around resistance, then possibly it'll just sell off. Good morning, GM. Yes, joined Patreon account. Awesome. Thank you for joining. Yes, lots of good things in there every single day. But yeah, let's just pay attention to how Tesla opens today because, like I said, if it opens around resistance, it might sell off a little bit, maybe even go back down to the 221 level to retest the 382, right? So we'll see. Keep an eye on that, but I'm not super excited about a continuation until it starts getting on the weekly, on the top side of the weekly cloud here for Tesla. So I think got some patience here still. It is a good gap up this morning, but it's not a great one. If it gapped up like in the 230s, then I think that could be a lot more exciting. But gapping up just towards resistance, not so exciting for Tesla. And daily chart is showing what really happened yesterday. You can see, look at the daily chart. If you zoom in here, look at that. It closed the day above the cloud. So of course there's going to be continuation for tomorrow because of that action, right? You see, yesterday didn't do it. It just turned into a wick and then it went below. So how the daily candles close was a good indicator, maybe how the direction it wanted to go. And sure enough, it closed in the cloud and just wanted to go higher and higher. And gapping up above that 382, the 221 is a good thing, right? So even if it comes back down, it could be a support this time and then continue higher. So that's really good for the daily chart. And even the daily resistance does sit up here around 230s, right? So maybe today it can wick up there. I'm not sure. But the big thing is closing above that level, right? The 382 again. Everything else is not so important to me. Just getting back in that trading range from the 382 up to the point 0.5, the 258, right? That's what I'm really looking forward to for Tesla. Just staying in that new range, getting out of this down range, this bottom range right here, just moving higher and higher. So I think that's good developments here, and I think if that things can close relatively strong today, I think that 221 can be a support. So we'll pay attention for today and tomorrow. Good morning, Jules. So let's just look at the other markets. We'll go up to the QQQ. And yeah, I have that arrow there for the reason of I think it's still headed lower, right? That is where I'm placing my bets. I think 459 pre-market is not enough. I think 454 could be the target for the QQQ. And yeah, that is essentially just a breakout back test. So I think what's really happening is just a consolidation before it's ready to move higher. So nothing bearish, but I do think short term has more downside for the QQQ. And let's see, SPY. It's still battling that top of the cloud, right? Look at that. It just broke out towards the all-time highs, could not break above, and then it went back to retest support. So will it go lower than this? I don't know, right? There seems to be pretty strong support here on the cloud, and today the bottom of the cloud sits around 549. So I think that could be your target, but if it wants to go lower, maybe it'll happen next week, because next week there's an opportunity to go down to the cloud here into the 530s. So perhaps this week could be relatively muted and next week could be a fall, right? So got to be cautious about the SPY a little bit, just because it broke out massively, right? So it was like a 10% up move, right? Let's calculate that again. Yeah, it was basically, yeah, an up 10% move and what, down a couple percent. So I think having that within a couple of weeks is a pretty big deal, right? 2, 3 weeks. So essentially, yeah, just give it time to cool off. You don't need to rush any trade at all. All right. See you. Thank you. And you also added CLSK, Riot Wolf, and CIFR for the first time. Yeah, so those charts are good. If you're in the Patreon, you can see my daily update that I did yesterday. So that's in there with timestamps. So there you go. And yeah, I'll let Patreon members know if I do make any action as well with those. But I think it all depends on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin right now is relatively flat. Like it's down 1,200, but from like a day-to-day basis, it's not doing much at all, right? Yesterday was a big range. Today it's just going back down to test that range, right, for Bitcoin. So the miners are just going to depend on Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens with that. And I think that could have been the bottom for Bitcoin temporarily. So that means maybe the bottom for miners as well. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, let's go back to the IWM up here. Still in a perfect range of support. And that is, let's see, 212.67. Yeah, it's just right. It's been around support for a couple days now. So this will be the third day. And it is opening up a little bit green, maybe, right? It might want to do that. And it looks like that's still going to stay in the cloud. So I think it has some room to go higher, right? Back towards the 215s, whatever. And next week could be a good week for the IWM, because it might be on the top side of the cloud here on the daily chart. So that could be some room to run higher. So we'll pay attention to that. So maybe while the QQQ and the SPY go lower, perhaps the IWM wants to go higher. So that could be a rotation, right? So also good for Tesla, also good for growth stocks, good for small caps, and so on. Thoughts about gold? I have lots of thoughts about gold. And gold is bullish, right? I'll show my gold chart here. It just keeps going higher, right? Higher and higher. And you can see how perfect that was for the GAN level, right? It just was resistance, 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 boom, broke out. And I think it's going to go straight up to the arcs above, maybe 3,100, not right away. And these are monthly candles. So I think just got to give it patience, right? It's getting kind of extended to 2258 is the monthly conversion line. So don't need to chase it here. But what I think the markets and gold and everything is telling you is that the fiat currency keeps on getting debased all over the world. So people want to hold growth assets, right? That's what they want to hold. And that's why I think stocks and gold and crypto are going to eventually all go up together because of that fact. So, yeah, let's see. APLD. Applied Digital. Yeah, this one maybe is trying to find a bottom here, right? Right here, back in the 22s, it was finding a higher lows. Yeah, I mean, it's been making higher lows from the bottom, really, since 2022. So is it a bullish chart? No, it's not bullish, but is it maybe worth taking a shot at? Possibly, because this low is still higher than that low, right? And so on and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of worth a shot if you like it, but I like a little bit more bullish charts before. And right now, even on the daily chart, it's not really breaking anything, right? It's still going lower. So, and plus all the moving averages are up there too. So yeah, it's not going to break out anytime soon, but it is trying to find a base for itself. So it could be worth a shot, right? But I don't know. I like more bullish charts. SMCI. Yeah, here we go. So nothing has changed in my thesis of SMCI. So what I really think is it's probably going to head lower, right? And I think a retest of the 300s, 370 down to 340, that's going to be possible for SMCI, regardless of any kind of positive price action in the future, right? Even if it goes up a little bit to the 500s again, I think it's still going to roll over and get there because it's in a downtrend now, right? From 2000 March 2024, it's been in a downtrend. So I think it has to find its new higher low somewhere, and I think that's going to be down here somewhere before price wants to go higher. But long term, it's a very bullish chart. Short term, not a bullish chart. So just got to give this one time, and there's no rush for me. I do think it'll be really good in the future, but just right now, got to give it time. Ethereum, I see a request for. So Ethereum, basically, what I'm kind of looking for is maybe a retest, possibly, right? 2140. It's just been stuck ever since it flipped that to a resistance. I think it's been stuck. And when we look at the Ichimoku, it's really bearish now, right? It's underneath everything. So it just means more time, right? It's not like bearish long term, but just short term, kind of like SMCI, right? So what I really think though is these moving averages can help, right? They can help. So I can take this off and just show you that Ethereum might find support around the current levels, around 2289, maybe even 2202 down these levels. So maybe not even get back to the ARK again. So that is a possibility, but it's doing the same thing, right? Long-term, high time frame bullish, doing like a little A, B, C correction, finding a low here. And I think it already found that on the first week of August because that already touched the bottom of the arc. So it's going back to retest the lows and finding its new higher low and then going to work its way higher. So it's looking like a bottoming process for a lot of things, including Ethereum and Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. And yeah, I'll do AVGO. And Jeff, I already did IWM in the beginning. You guys can check that if you missed it. Yeah, Broadcom. Yeah, that's looking pretty bullish, right? On the high time frame. Looks like it kind of still wants to hold that support of the 152s. It is around that price pre-market, right? So let's see. Let's see if that holds. Like tomorrow's the weekly candle close, so let's see if it closes above that level right there, right? Oh, sorry, pre-market is 152, and yeah, so it's a little bit below that level, but I think that could be a support. Let's look at the daily chart. Yeah, it's at pretty good support right there for the daily chart, right around 150 or 149. That's pretty good support so far. So I think it could be at a support with this breakout and maybe a back test and maybe a continuation higher. So it's looking better. Since the top here back in June of 2024, I think the downtrend could be slowly over, right? Because it already went down to these levels here. So I want to watch the weekly close to confirm anything, though, but I think it has a potential to continue higher. And we'll look at HIMS. Yeah, HIMS like broke the symmetry a little bit. It got below that angle, so I'm looking for a close back above it, maybe in the weeks to come if that happens. But if it doesn't happen, then where is price going to go? it's probably going to go lower, right? If it doesn't break above that soon, it's probably going to go back to 1285 right down here. And that still would be a higher low from here, right? So the market structure of that would be a series of high highs and higher lows. And I think that could be the higher low it was looking for into the 13s or high 12s for HIMS. So just need to just need to give it time, I think, because it just broke out pretty massively. So now it's just consolidating more, right? So don't think it's ready to break above yet because it's proof after closing this candle below. And for me to get any more kind of bullish with this, I'd like to see some momentum back to the upside. So until that happens, I think more down first before up. And I see silver here, right? Silver. Yeah, so silver is holding support, right? My blue level, that's all that really matters to me, the blue level and the baseline, 28, 26. So it's just stuck in between levels here, but it's the trend is up, and I think it's going to be similar to gold, how it's going to want to keep going higher and higher, but it's just a little bit weaker because of the chart, right? It already broke out a little bit, but now it's been trending lower on the shorter time frame. So it's just trying to find its base. And I think it is doing that right now. So that around that $28 level, I think could be the floor for silver. And if we do GDX, GDX, it's looking all right. It's holding the weekly support as well. So just got to watch that 36.92 going into the close tomorrow. If it doesn't hold, then there's a possibility to come back down lower. So it's still very bullish, but could come back to retest levels. So just got to be aware of that. How about you? Oh, I'm great. Thanks. No. Let's see. SMH, please. Yeah, SMH. I think it found its support, right? Right here. Support. And it already went back to test the 50-week moving average. So I don't think it's really necessary to go back down there. So if I just take off everything and you guys can see the market symmetry of everything, like you can see how important that angle has been throughout time. Like it was a resistance here, resistance, kind of a support, then back to a resistance, and then here a support once, twice, three times, right? So it's looking like it's out of support, like right now, pre-market, that could be the opportunity right there. Looks not bad, right? And with the Ichimoku, it is looking like it's drifting closer to the cloud. Not sure if it's ready to go down there yet, but if it did want to, maybe next week or so, that could be a possibility to maybe retest the bottom arc down in the 205s, down to the 200s or so. I think that's a good bet, right? But since it broke out, it really hasn't tested the green cloud at all. So I think that is kind of what it's doing, right? So whether it's going to do it next week or it's going to drift sideways up here and do it maybe in December of 2024 and then go up, we don't know, right? So either way, I think it's the beginning of a demand zone really for the SMH from the 220s all the way down to the 200s right there. Let's see, NVDA. So yeah, pre-market's 205. It's basically what I've been saying the whole time, right? 205. I want to see price close candles above the arc always, right? That's what I want to see, like a breakout and above the arc all the time. And it already back tested these levels, so don't really see a need to go back down there. So we could see something similar to like the SMH where it's just going to go sideways to down a little bit until maybe it gets to the cloud, right? Maybe in December as well. So we'll see. And then maybe by that time it'll go back up. But I think similar situation, right? Since it broke out, it has never back tested the 50, never has back tested the cloud. So I think it's just got to give this one more time, and I don't see it just skyrocketing above. But we'll see, right? Because the baseline does sit at 108.18 here, and if it does close another weekly candle above that, then there's a possibility for momentum to continue. So that level right there, right there is what I'm really looking at. Uh, so 105 is great, but even better is over 108, and that's tomorrow. So let's pay attention to 108 for the weekly candle close to see if it can do that, and then if it can maybe maintain the momentum to continue higher. But I still think a back test of the cloud sometime in the future is going to happen. So that means I need to be more shorter term cautious, even though I'm still longer term bullish. NVIDIA maybe going to test 87.90. No, I think it already did that, right? This candle already tested 90. So I don't see a reason to go back there. Not at all, right? So it already did it. People that didn't buy down there, I think they missed that opportunity. But could it come back down to maybe like 96? Yeah, that's a possibility. I think so, right? It's not really 90, but it's 96. So we'll keep an eye on that 96. But first, we're going to keep an eye on that 108.18, just see if it can close this week above. And if it can, then no momentum has been lost, really. So just pay attention to that. And yeah, I'll just take a look at you for you. Clear, secure. Whoa, look at that chart, huh? Yeah, that's a bullish breakout right there, right? You can't complain about that. And it was obvious. Like, whenever you see these kind of candles here that are bullish engulfing through, that just cuts through all resistance, right? Then you know it's probably going to go higher. And you saw Tesla do that when it cut through all that earlier, and then it went to 270, right? So this one is kind of similar, how it cut through all that resistance and went above. But now what we really got to look at is to the left of the chart. And to the left of the chart, we're going to see maybe some highs up here. We'll just start there. So these candles here are all going through that level, right? And then you got more over here going through that level. So I think when it gets closer to the 30s, maybe 31, 32, 33, I think that's where the resistance is really going to come and play, right? It's even hitting some resistance right now. As you can see with this weekly candle, it's still down almost 2%. So I think it made its move already, right? So this was the move, this was the chance, and now it's getting closer to resistance. So I would just be patient and let price maybe come back down to see. And Upstart, UPST. Yeah, Upstart did exactly what I was talking about last week, right? I was saying it's at resistance, and sure enough, it got rejected, right? So this is why it's good to buy the momentum, but when it gets to resistance, it's gotta be taking profits time, right? You can't be greedy because that's exactly what happened. They got rejected by the cloud, and now it's probably going to go back down and maybe even test the 33, maybe even 32 levels for Upstart. So can't get really too excited about it. We'll see how the week closes though. But even if it closed like around these levels here, as long as it stays in the cloud, it's fine. It can close here, 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 anywhere in there, right? It'll still be fine. Yeah. Okay, I see that. So the market's going to open in 5 minutes. Let's take another quick look at what's going on here with Tesla. Yeah, it's hitting the resistance wall, guys. So just watch the open. Be prepared for a price to come back down to the 221s. Even be prepared for it to wick above, right? But how it closes tomorrow is what I'm focused on. If it closes above all this tomorrow, then that's fantastic. But if it closes still in the cloud, then guess what? It's still going to be a resistance zone for Tesla. So I mentioned on Tuesday, market open, that price could do anything at once while it's inside the candle, right? It can go down here and it can go all the way up here, right? I did mention that on Tuesday. And that's exactly what it's doing. It's taking full advantage of being inside the cloud here, and it's doing that, right? But be mindful that Tesla is at resistance right now. pre-market, right? So we'll see. We'll see how it closes the week tomorrow. If it closes above everything, then yes, I'll be excited. But it still has that 200-week moving average above to deal with as well. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what's going on with ARK. Yeah, ARK is doing fine still. Just got back above the weekly 100. It went back down there to test it yesterday, perfectly almost, right? So I think this is just a classic breakout to resistance, back testing support, right? That's what it looks like so far for ARKK. So it's looking better and better and better through the months, through the weeks. And that is clear by all these higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low. So that is a good trend, and the trend is your friend. So I think all these higher lows are still saying that support is underneath. Everyone is waiting for the PMI data. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I personally don't care about the PMI stuff. I don't care about any of that data because I think it's all fake anyways. They're going to just say what they're going to say, right? So that just means read the charts, and the charts are really telling the story. And to me, they're telling a story that things like the QQQ and the SPY are kind of near tops. So maybe they want to just stay around those tops for a little bit and maybe even consolidate a little bit more before they go higher. So they can have data come out looking bad for price to push down to support. And then the next week, oh, better data, let's go back up again, right? So who cares? Just focus on the charts, ignore the data, and you'll be fine. And let's just take a look at some miners pre-market here. Yeah, so CLSK, it's 862 pre-market. I posted 850 in the group, or in X, I mean. And I think that's just like kind of front running this price, right? So I think a better entry would be in the low eights, right? But I believe no matter what, it's still going to be a higher low from here, right? And this is way down here, like 650, and I don't think it's going to go that low. I think maybe eights or mid sevens, right? Right around here, eights to mid sevens could be the target. But anywhere, I think starting 850 down to the mid sevens would be a great accumulation for CLSK. Yeah, I mean, you have your own opinion, Sirkin, about the economic data, but believe me, the charts are telling a story before that data even comes out. So it doesn't matter, in my opinion, because I think no matter what, it's telling me the story, right? It can be a good looking chart or a bad looking chart or whatever, and it's going to direct me to believe which direction that data is going to come. So you have your own opinion, that's fine, and I have mine, and this works well for my strategy. So. Let's look at Coinbase. So I did make a post yesterday that it's getting really close. Oh, the market did just opened right now too. Yeah, this is really getting close to the buy zone, really, in my opinion. Not financial advice, right? But you got to make your own decisions. But me personally, this is amazing. This is what you see on a successful back test of an angle of an arc, or sorry, of the cloud. It's looking fantastic, right? So anywhere around 160, 150s, high 150s, that's amazing. Even current price, it's really good. So coin is looking fantastic right there. And WULF, yeah, WULF is still doing well, right? Look at that. It's getting back above the weekly baseline right there. So let's watch the weekly close tomorrow. 404 is the target. If that holds, then yeah, I think more bullish continuation for a WULF. But I think that's the case for a lot of the miners, right? A lot of them are looking that way. So it's just don't be fearful of the recent price action. They are getting down to the levels that are very, 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 very attractive for most of them, right? So yeah, we'll just take one final look at the markets here. And yeah, see, Tesla's couldn't get really above that resistance. So just watch that 225, 226 level. If it can break above it and stay above it, then that's great. If not, it might go back down to 221 to retest that. And yeah, everything else is doing what it should be doing as well. So I think we'll just pay attention to those levels and see where price will lead. But tomorrow's the weekly candle close, guys. That's the most important thing. So we're gonna see where things truly close the week out, and that's gonna tell me kind of the direction things might want to go for the next week. So let's just pay attention to that and focus on the prices that I mentioned for like